Let's simplify this rational expression. The goal of simplification is to cross out terms that are the same on the top and the bottom. Before we can do that, we need to factor both the top and the bottom to look for like terms. Now the top is a little bit complicated in terms of factoring, so I'm actually going to focus on the bottom or denominator first. This is a difference of perfect squares. The first and the second term are perfect squares. So when I factor into two terms, I'm going to take the square root of each term. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of x squared is x. And the square root of 4 is 2. When you factor the difference of perfect squares, remember there is one negative and one positive term. This is going to help me factor the top because I know ideally something is going to cancel out. And for something to cancel out, it must be a 3x and a 2. We'll talk about the sign in a second. To get the second factor, I'm going to think, okay, the first term is a 15. 3x times what is 15? 3 times 5 is 15. And then the last term is 12. I already have, or suspect I have, a factor of 2. So I'm going to make this a 6 because 3 times 2 is 6. Now I need to figure out my signs. Because this is negative on the end, I know one must be positive, one must be negative. That's the only way to get a negative sign at the end term. I do want my middle term to be positive, so I think my bigger one needs to be positive. I'm going to put the positive with the 6 and the negative with the 2. Now I am going to check this using FOIL just to be sure my signs are correct. When I FOIL, the first times the first, 3x times 5x is 15x squared. Outer times outer, 3x times 6 is 18x. Inner times inner, negative 2 times 5x is negative 10x. And last times last, negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. These middle two terms do indeed combine to 8x, creating the term 15x squared plus 8x minus 12, which is what I want. I'm all set to cancel, but before I do that, I'm going to remember I need to find the excluded values, or what values I can't have in the denominator. I'm going to do this before I cancel because you do want both of them, and it's tempting if you cancel first to forget about the second one. To find excluded values, I am going to set both factors in the denominator equal to 0, as we cannot divide by 0. And solve each one individually. The first by adding 2 to both sides, resulting in 3x equals 2, and then dividing by 3. And leave that as x equals 2/3. The second by subtracting 2 from both sides and dividing by 3 gives me x is negative 2/3. These are my excluded values, or what x cannot be equal to. Now I'll go ahead and factor. On the top and bottom, I need exactly the same terms. 3x minus 2, 3x minus 2 are the same, which leaves me with 5x plus 6 over 3x plus 2, and the condition that x cannot be equal to 2/3 and x cannot be equal to negative 2/3.